Are you hoping for like exoneration for the January 6th people?
I am indeed. In fact, I was down there at the vigil for the J6ers down on Freedom Corner with Mickey Withoff, who is Ashley Babbitt's mother. In fact, I have Ashley Babbitt's ashes in this necklace right here. I made this necklace with Ashley Babbitt's ashes. I made it for her and her husband.
This morning, new.
Did her mom sell her ashes? Is that what's happening here? Did they sell those ashes?
The golden age of America has arrived. President Donald J. Trump, number 47 in 43 minutes. Happy days are here again.
This is We the Sequel, We the People, round 2, as we take back our capital, as we take back the country after January 6th and all of those people running in jail for no reason. Most of them.
I'm ready to see gas prices under $1.50. I'm ready to see the Federal Reserve abolished. I'm ready to see Trump buy 1 million Bitcoins for a strategic reserve for us Americans to have. I'm ready to see the southern borders secure. I'm ready to see inflation go down to 0. I'm ready for all the Jan 6 prisoners not only to get a pardon, but to get multi-million-dollar.
Wouldn't zero inflation necessarily mean that we were in a recession? Pretty sure that means that means your economy is not growing, right?
Payouts in the future. And I'm ready to go to Greenland and have a nice hotel stay at a future Trump tower that gets built there. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, you know Greenland is like negative 30 right now though.
Well, Greenland is really cold and icy, and Iceland is really green and nice, right?
Yeah, it was like they named it that to trick the Vikings. So Iceland's the green one. So they were like, the Vikings, they were scared of them. So they were just like, yo, we're going to call Greenland Iceland and reverse it. So that the Vikings got to Greenland and were like,
Is that literally true, or am I so gullible for looking this up? Is that true? Were they trying to trick Vikings? Stop. Is it actually true? The name Iceland was intentionally chosen by Norse explorers to discourage oversettlement, while Greenland was named to attract settlers. I can't believe that's literally true.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm really honestly going to be proud to see our president able to walk and not crap himself in front of the world stage. It's nice to have a president that can speak English without mumbling. It's nice to have a president that the people on the world stage actually respect and maybe fear a little bit. Remember when he did the thing with Rocket Man? People said he was going to start World War III. He's like, Rocket Man, I've got the biggest rocket. I got a bigger button. I've got a bigger rocket.
Rocket Man is on a mission for himself and for his regime.
And everyone said that was going to start World War III. But did it? No, it actually backed off Rocket Man. And in the end, they ended up shaking hands, which had never been done before, never been done in the history of the world. Yeah. And it's that strength that you need when you come into a negotiation.
I've never heard a MAGA person articulate what we got from that exchange between Trump and Kim Jong-un. I've never heard a single MAGA person articulate. Like, the closest I ever got to someone trying to give me some kind of like justification for Trump cozying up to those people was on a WIC panel. And I can't remember who, I think it was Gibbs, who is a character. But Gibbs was just like, know your enemy. We got to know the enemy. I'm like, what? I don't know what that means. Like, how is that a benefit to us? He resumed his missile tests within a year of them meeting. There was initially like, he was saying that there was going to be peace with South Korea. That went out the window. We literally got nothing. America got, like, Kim Jong-un got so much credibility or perceived credibility and propaganda materials that he was able to blast out to his followers, like, look at your dear leader, he's shaking hands with the American president. Like, it was so you cannot, like, it was so valuable to Kim Jong-un to do that, and he got it so easily. Like, Donald Trump is such a narcissistic, like, transparently narcissistic, simple guy that all Kim Jong-un had to do was just like write him a letter to say, dear Donald, dear sir, I think you have a large penis and it's probably very girthy. And Trump was like, you know what? I like him. I like Kim Jong-un. Great guy. Very impressive. That's all it took. Just a little bit of flattery was all it took. And that was it.
You don't need some guy bumbling and barely able to walk, rolling up in front of the world leaders. They're laughing behind.
I don't think this is going to age well at all. I think in the next couple of years, we're going to see footage of Donald Trump walking like Mr. Magoo, at a UN General Assembly and people laughing at him. It's almost assured, right?
our backs. They're making us look foolish. At least Trump has swagger. He's got Americana, and he's a badass.
I definitely think he's learned a lot. I think, while we definitely didn't want the last 4 years, I think he's benefited from 4 years of just seeing what can happen.
Yeah, he f***ing saluted a North Korean military guy. There's that famous photo of the North Korean general holding out his hand to shake Trump's hand, and Trump is just sitting there like this, saluting a foreign general. Okay.
And now he's got the right team assembled. He knows how to move things around. And I think we're going to see real meaningful change.
Yeah, I'm ready for Elon to really, really, really cut most of the 2 million plus jobs in the federal government out of the equation. And I'm ready to see over 400 bureaucracies here in the United States that are like a cancer in God's U.S. Republic completely abolished. The IRS needs to be abolished.
I would like to see, say, Department of Education gone. I would like to see ATF gone.
Why do you want the Department of Education shut down?
Before the Department of Education, we were ranked 9th in the world. Or no, we were 7th in the world.
In education.
Yes, in education. After the Department of Education, I think today we are about 14th. No Child Left Behind, drastically dumbed down. The curriculums made it so that students couldn't fail. And then every time the curriculum is seen to be upgraded, the teachers union shut it down.
Interesting. Do you think teachers should be paid more?
No.
Why?
There shouldn't be a public education system.
And I'm ready for Donald John Trump to make Bitcoins a legal tender here, like what has happened in El Salvador with Nayib Bukele.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
What's the benefit of having a cryptocurrency reserve?
Well, with Bitcoins, we have to adapt to that as Americans. We have to have that, because if we don't, we're going to be very, very far behind of other nations like El Salvador, who's leading the way.
Yeah.
Those people there.
I guess it's just important to have market regulation when it comes to, Bitcoin because of pump and dump schemes. Like, did you see the Hawk coin?
Right. That's a huge problem. We have Bitcoins. They're incredible. And then we have all the scam coins out there. And there are so many altcoins.
Did Hawk just poof disappear after the rug pull? How's Talk Tua going? Is she gone? Really? She has not posted since then? Talk Tua.
Do you have
Her last Talk Tua post was 1 month ago? She had an episode with Mark Cuban? What? Mark Cuban told her to rug pull, or she made generational wealth and then just dipped. You kind of have to respect it. No, you don't. This is worse than my Elon take. How is it not generational wealth? I feel like she made tens of millions of dollars, right? How much money did Hawk Girl make? Haley Welsh, also known as the Hawk Girl, launched her meme coin called Hawk on the Solana blockchain. Initially, the token surged to a market cap of $500 million. I know she didn't get all of that money, but she surely got $100 million, right? It's a Hawk coin. I mean, she probably got a minimum 20% of that, right? Coffee covered how she only made $300,000 from that. Did she get by her own insiders? Generational wealth of $400,000. Jesus Christ. Okay, well now I'm very much you idiot. Never mind. I take it all back. I have no respect for her. I would respect it if she walked away with $200 million. I'd be like,
coins that are just wreaking havoc.
Yeah, because it's
life after life.
It's hard because you want to have a free market, but then the crypto world is just so full of scams. It's you need some element of regulation.
Right. There needs to be some type of thing put in, and hopefully Trump can get it done.
What do you think about this upcoming presidency, bro?
I'm actually Cuban. I was born in Cuba. I came in 2011. First terms for Trump, didn't really agree with him. Didn't really agree with the way that he spoke about immigrants, especially I was not citizen yet. I didn't think about voting on the second term, but something happened. And I saw that Biden took such a comfortable back seat during July 6th back in Cuba. I don't know if you've heard about the situation.
Tell us about it.
So I think it was 2022. There was a massive revolt all around the island. All the cities were taking to the streets, protesting that they were sick and tired. There's no food. There's no power. The government basically hoards all the resources, and instead of distributing them like they're supposed to, communism, they give it to the people that were close with them, the agents.
Like Venezuela.
Like Venezuela, exactly, same thing. It was violent. the police were there are videos of police breaking into like the house of one of the organization leaders. They shot him right in front of the family. You can see like the blood running. It's really sad. I was crying throughout that entire play. Like it was tragic.
And how did Biden respond to the July 6th events?
He didn't do anything. He basically said we're not gonna touch anything revolving around Cuba. We're gonna leave them to their devices. And there's a group of Cubans that today are gonna be having a protest in front of the White House to basically encourage Trump to look at that situation and try to do something, try to help.
How long did it take you to achieve citizenship?
Well, for me, it was around 6-7 years. It's not hard. You just gotta know history, learn the history. They literally give you a booklet with the answers.
Jesus. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. No, thank you. Can you tell me about your sign?
Sure. So mine says protect trans kids. There's a lot of discourse about trans people right now. All of the talking points.
The birds aren't real. That's still a thing.
It's being made are word for word identical to what they were 20 years ago or 30 years ago about gay people.
It's like we have mutants living among us on planet Earth.
I think if kids want to change their name, explore gender identity, do whatever the they want, that's fine. If they at some point want to do something medical about it, then they can have an informed conversation with a parent and or medical professional.
And what threat do you think the next 4 years pose to that?
I mean, Trump said he's going to sign an executive order on day one saying that there are two genders. So there's a pretty imminent threat of getting kicked out of the military, losing gender inclusive care. People are going to die from this, and that's really shitty.
Transgender students in sports became a top issue on the 2024 campaign trail and now a top priority of House Republicans in the new Congress.
The only time that the general public started caring about trans people in women's sports was when they started winning. Like Leah Thomas isn't even, she's a good swimmer. She's not the best.
Yeah.
There's no epidemic of men.
There's also, to my mind, a glaring contradiction about the trans discourse when it comes to like the right-wing hysteria about it. And then, of course, like on another tangent would be oh God, what was her name? Mia Khalifa? Is that her name? No, shit. I'm thinking of a porn star. Mia Khalifa. Who was the boxer? What was the boxer's name again? Iman. It was Iman Khalif. Iman Khalif. To be clear, I have never seen a porn with Mia Khalifa. The only reason I know about her is because she started going crazy when October 7th happened, and there was like a ton of discourse about that. My story, I'm sticking to it. Iman Khalif, the boxer in the Olympics, she came around, and then all of a sudden the Republicans got tricked into saying that men can get pregnant. So like she ushered in some progress for Republicans. Great. Like they acknowledged that the gender binary is not as binary as maybe we assume it to be, right? So like that was a valuable lesson that Republicans learned, right? But the contradiction about like, so let's take Leah Thomas, for example. Just a perfect example, right? Leah Thomas went through male puberty, transitioned in early adulthood, but had all the physical athletic benefits of male puberty. Great example of like, okay, so do you think that Leah Thomas should have had access to puberty blockers when she was younger? And then they'll say no, so it's like, that's, to me, it's just like such a glaring contradiction. Like, okay, well, you've kind of presented a no-win situation. It seems like your only solution to this problem is to just not be trans. Like and isn't that what it comes down to What it comes down to when we're talking about this isn't that kind of the position with Republicans will do this thing where they're like, live and let live, you can live your life. Just don't force me to go along with your life decisions. In the 90s, it used to be like, I don't care if you're queer, but I don't want to see it. Walking down the street, I don't want to see two dudes holding hands. Keep it to yourself. Don't force it on us, And that's what they pretend to think, right? Like that used to be the Republican line, which is just like, everybody can live their life the way they want to live their lives. I shouldn't have a say in it, but I just don't want to be involved in it. Don't force me to go along with it. There's like that shit. But the trans argument from Republicans, at the end of the day, it always just simply boils down to just don't be trans. It isn't live and let live. It isn't like you're free to do what you want. It's just don't be trans. We think it's gross and icky and we don't want to see it. Because like Leah Thomas is like she's like the best example of like, okay, I feel like puberty blockers maybe could have helped this situation, right? NCAA President Charlie Baker told Senate panel there's fewer than 10 transgender athletes he is aware of who currently compete in college sports. I made that point, that to me is just so striking. That even surprised me because I was expecting it to be like, maybe, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think there's like 500,000 NCAA athletes. So statistically speaking, I was expecting 520,000 student athletes that compete in NCAA sports, and at most 9 are trans. That actually surprised me. I talked about that on Twitter. I like referenced that, and then I had people in my replies that are like, "Oh yeah, well what about this?" And they shared an article where some UN agency had looked into it and said that between some kind of time frame, I don't know if it was 1 year or 5 years, or they estimated that 900 trans women had won medals across the entire world. And they were saying, they were using that to say like, see, this is a big problem. 900 in the entire world. And they were like, this is a big issue that needs to be addressed. 900 on a planet with 8 billion people. And they thought that number was like, oh my God. No, it wasn't Olympic medals. No, it wasn't just, it was all of sports. All of sports. Student athletes, professional, any sport is what the UN report said. And they were like, see, we told you this is a big problem. 900? It's hilarious. I mean, it's not, but it's absurd. There is a pandemic of just stupidity that's going on right now.
Going into women's sports and sweeping competition, like that's not happening?
Yeah.
And also being on estrogen long term actually like weakens your physical abilities. And medical transition is often necessary.
You're going to lose people with this when you say that there's no advantages that athletes who have been through, trans athletes that have been through male puberty, they retain no benefits. You're going to lose some you're going to lose some people saying that.
Necessary to compete in women's sports for trans people. So like
hatred has won, and that is depressing. I cried on election day. I know so many other women who cried on election day. This means that so many people have to go into hiding, can't be themselves. People are, like Grant said, people are gonna die. People are, it's just, I'm legitimately terrified for my immigrant friends. I stay awake at night thinking about them, thinking about trans people.
Had Esme been born after Trump's EO from last night about birthright citizenship had gone into effect, then Esme wouldn't be a citizen. Like, Esme is a citizen of this country because of birthright citizenship. And that motherfucker, Esme, beautiful, lovely motherfucker that I'm engaged to, is a hard-working, resourceful, tax-paying, intelligent asset to this country. She adds value, very real value to this country. Works harder than me, I'll tell you that much. Her work ethic is way higher than mine, and it's not even close. Okay, she would not be a citizen if Donald Trump's EO had gone into effect before she was born, assuming it is challenged in court and upheld by the courts.
Whether or not you think that gay people should exist, trans people should exist, immigrants should be here or not, what I hope we can all come together and understand is that humans are humans. Maybe they did commit a crime. Maybe they do something that you don't agree with. They are still people. The mass deportations of immigrants.
Hey, Biden supported the Vietnam War and killed a lot.
The mass deportation of immigrants is going to kill people.
Right?
Yeah, Biden's shit.
Okay, great.
What are your thoughts on the whole mass deportation issue?
Mass deportation. My wife is Mexican. Like I said, I live by the border. I love the Mexican people. There's a lot of good people. We definitely start at the top, meaning the worst, and work our way down. Necessarily not so many, all these little, people with their families or people second generation, this and that. Let's not get too carried away. We'll start with the worst and we'll work our way down.
Oh boy. I can't tell you for sure if it's going to happen or not, but I feel like this country is going to, a lot of people in this country are going to experience a leopards eating faces moment at some point in the next 6 months. And oh boy, I am so curious to see what how they respond to it. Because it wouldn't shock me. Like, I feel like at some point we're gonna see a video of someone whose spouse was deported by Trump sticking up for Trump. Like, we're gonna see a video of a guy that was like, yeah, my wife was deported last week, but you know, had to happen. Like, that is like, there's a non-zero chance that we're gonna see like a lot of videos like that.
You got murders in San Diego.
Like, I miss her, you know, hard raising the kids without her, but you know, MAGA, right?
County, we have a not just a sanctuary city, we have a super sanctuary city where not only can you not tell ICE if there's a problem with an illegal alien, you can't tell them even if they committed armed robbery or they're like, no, what about the poor and armed robbery? We can't send them back. We can't tell ICE.
We will not allow our local resources to be used for actions that separate families.
So they don't want to use the resources, which is what they calling ICE, just because they want to protect illegal aliens. I think the people that are doing these laws are actually paid off by the cartel. It's a crazy conspiracy. I know. You know, it's one thing having immigration, but when you just have a total open border, and then when they come in, they get free health care, they get free cell phones, they get free hotels when our homeless people are living on the streets. I mean, come on, people. We got to do this legally, right?
We need to have a very solid immigration policy.
So like the CBP One app, for example, that was meant to facilitate legal immigration. Of course, Republican simple people, in the nicest possible terms, idiots, legitimately think the CBP One app was used to like help people illegally migrate into the country. It's like, oh, you just download this app and it gives you a map of the southern border and it tells you where to go to cross and, you know, not get caught or whatever. They legitimately think that that's what this app was. I wish I was kidding. I'm not. That's what they think it's for. But like what it did do was it expedited the asylum process. And it added a series of controls to that process. So like they're given a burner phone and they're given this app, and then the app has built-in location tracking. And so, you know, you're not allowed, like it makes sure that people are in like the right spot, like the right port of entry to go to. So it just streamlined a lot of the process of asylum. The CBP One app. That's the point of it, was to streamline the process. And now, for no reason, they killed the app because they think that it's they think it's like the open borders app. And so now it's just going to be harder to keep track of these people, and there's going to be more of a backlog in the system. It's going to take longer to process the claims, which I suppose is the point. The point is to stymie asylum claims. That is the point. And that's a popular policy position in right-wing circles. They don't want asylum seekers to be processed into our system. And so if they can just break the system and slow it down, then yeah, that's kind of the point, right?
So we keep attracting the best talents across the world to this land to build it up, build the economy, build companies, hire employee people, you know. I pay tax, and I want my tax to benefit my neighbors, my country, and my children, and my neighborhood, my community, right? I don't want other countries to take advantage of United States people.
Scientology is a cult. Thank you.
Are you a Scientologist?
Nope.
Do you think
abuse women and children?
Do you think that we're Scientologists?
Nope. Just getting the message out. That's all.
Okay. What's the worst thing Scientology's done?
They use
that is Boogie's brother or not too distant relative. Are you guys seeing it?
Children for auditing. So 8, 9, 10-year-olds are asking grown men about masturbation and anal sex.
That's not good. Do you feel like
hashtag save the children?
Are you hoping for like exoneration for the January 6th people?
I am indeed. In fact, I was down there at the vigil for the J6ers down on Freedom Corner with Mickey Withoff, who is Ashley Babbitt's mother. In fact, I have Ashley Babbitt's ashes in this necklace right here. I made this necklace with Ashley Babbitt's ashes. I made it for her and her husband.
This morning, new.
Did her mom sell her ashes? Is that what's happening here? Did they sell those ashes? I don't see any news about them selling ashes. I just assume that this guy's bullshitting.
Details about 35-year-old Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer.
And I was down
Don't show it, Jesus.
Down there, I was told that the word on the street is the guards were told to stay late tonight to help release the prisoners.
Are they being held in D.C. right now?
Oh, yeah. They're not far from here, a few miles down the street.
Thank you so much, Matt. Any message to the American people before we go?
You should go watch his movie. This guy makes some great documentaries. I went to his premiere. It was freaking awesome. Thanks, brother.
I appreciate you, Matt. Thanks, Doc. Have a good one.
Yeah.
If you missed it, just 5 days ago, we dropped our first ever independent film called Dear Kelly, a project that's being received quite well across the political spectrum. It explores the life, backstory, and beliefs of a man named Kelly J. Patriot, who I met at a White Lives Matter rally in 2021.
Kobe Bryant was assassinated by the Clintons.
The film was shot
Oh my God.
over the course of 3.5 years, documenting Kelly's radicalization, his quest for revenge against a private lender, and his family's attempts to pull him out of the rabbit hole and put family first. The film is currently being self-hosted and privately distributed at www.dearkellyfilm.com for the low rental cost of $5.55. So if you want to support us and see the movie, head on over. All right, back to the streets of DC.
Oh yeah, we are surrounded by ancient pagan symbols, from the obelisk there, which may be the biggest obelisk in the world, to the dome there of Isis, the ever-pregnant womb of Isis in the occult mindset. That's what that is. With the apotheosis of George Washington, which is that mural inside the dome, which represents that Masonic future that so many Masons are into having, where they ascend as a god into some type of paradise. It's not from the Bible, and I'm totally against all that. I'm standing here for Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Lord of the heavens and the earth.
Wait, I'm a bit confused. You're here for Jesus Christ. However, the pagan symbology is also important.
Well, it's not important to me, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because the plan that was put in place to build Washington, D.C. was a plan, in fact, to honor the ancient gods. And the plan was not to honor Jesus Christ. The people who designed this place, the main people, were into it to honor their Masonic god, who is Satan, recorded about in the King James Version Bible.
Who do you think was controlling
that one? Took a turn.
Obama was definitely a key player. But again, in my research, Obama is more like a manager in Satan's hierarchy. He's got the World Economic Forum. He's got the UN. He's got King Charles and the monarchy. He's got.
Is the music in the video? Where's this music coming from?
Again,
yeah, it is.
In my research, Obama is more like a manager in Satan's hierarchy. He's got the World Economic Forum. He's got the UN. He's got King Charles and the monarchy. He's got so many different groups that have extreme amounts of power compared to me.
Yeah. Do you think that there's kind of like a second deep state forming around Trump?
Well, just protect Trump from having that happen, God. Please help him not to make the same mistakes that he made when he was the 43rd president of the United States, God.
And where do you get?
I just don't know what to do to, like, truthfully, I don't know what to do about the fact that pretty significant percentage of the country are just crazy people. Like, and then when you point that out, what you hear is like, you're the guy that thinks that boys can be girls. Like, that's 99% of the time that you point out, like, there's a lot of insane people in this country. You're going to get some right-wing dipshit in your replies like, really? Define a woman. So predictable. It's so predictable. I'm very pro-democracy, right? Like, what was it, Churchill that said that, like, democracy is like the least bad? I don't know what he said, but not a perfect system. You're going to have people that you have deep philosophical, spiritual disagreements with. But as far as like the Republican Party goes, the electorate broadly within the Republican movement, within the MAGA movement, there's a significant chunk of people that have completely untethered themselves from reality. And they have communities now that have been made available through online spaces, this technology that has emerged in the last 25 years or so, 30 years or so. And now it's just, I mean, I already had problems with like religion, and now it's like those problems are so much more exacerbated now, because now there are these religious elements that kind of have fused with these political agendas and culture war issues, and it's just, I would be horrified if I lived in a country where like 90% of the people believe that the stuff that this guy believes. Talk about a dystopian nightmare. Would not be good.